With the very initiation of NAWAPA in North America, politically and economically, the land connecting the continents of America and Eurasia is placed on the agenda. The connection via the Bering Strait, a project that was proposed in the middle of the 19th century, would lead highways and rail track through a tunnel underneath the icy ocean waters and would include a gas pipeline as well as power transmission and communications lines. Construction of the Bering Strait Tunnel is an active agenda of many of the most important nations in that region.
Now, with a bridge or tunnel across the Bering Strait, suddenly that rail route that goes up to Alaska means something else entirely. Suddenly, if you talk about continuing that rail into what Mr. and Mrs. LaRouche have been calling for as the Eurasian Landbridge, you're talking about connecting rail all the way from South Africa up through the continent of Africa, up through Central Asia, through Asia, Russia, across the Bering Strait, down through North America, down through South America. Once we've solved the problem of crossing the Darien Gap, all the way down to the southern tip of Argentina. So suddenly, all these cities that were once the middle of absolute nowhere become the centers of human culture.
I'm going to talk today about the Bering Strait Tunnel project.
One of the international specialists on planning and constructing infrastructure projects of this scale and kind is Dr. Hal Cooper. Dr. Cooper has inspired and performed extensive feasibility studies on the rail and tunnel project for the Bering Strait, the rail connections within Alaska and Canada, as well as in numerous further projects.
Well, the Bering Strait Tunnel really is the physical as well as the political and economic linchpin of the four-power agreement between the United States, Russia, China, and India. And it would certainly re-stimulate many of our moribund manufacturing industries. It would create many new jobs. It would give a purpose to our development, but most importantly, it would give people a sense of hope and optimism that something can change for the better rather than the worse, which is what the global-only policies and philosophies have brought us to, which, as you say, is it's an economic collapse. It's economic cannibalism at its worst. Recreating and creating an entirely new paradigm with the Bering Strait Tunnel and the North American Water and Power Alliance and related infrastructure projects, because these have been basically verboten activities under the globalization, free market, free trade system, which of course is what we have to eliminate. And this provides the vehicle by which that can take place, and of course it will definitely have a psychological effect as well as a physical and an economic effect. And I think the oncoming four powers agreement of the United States, Russia, China, and India really becomes the backbone of all this to occur.
Dr. Sergei Cherkasov is a further international expert for such projects. Cherkasov works at the State Geological Vernadsky Museum in Moscow, which is part of the Russian Academy of Sciences. He is a leading expert on questions of raw materials in the scientific tradition of Vladimir Vernadsky and Dmitry Mendeleev, and is active in several international working groups on surveying undiscovered mineral deposits.
We can recollect history of Trans-Siberian Railway construction. We can look at the experience of Baikal-Amur Railroad, of new project, Urals Polar, Urals Industrial. But I would rather focus on what we should done to make this project really acting project. First of all, we have to really understand distribution of different resources on the way we are going to build. Without that, it will be like fifth leg for a dog. We have to really understand what will be transported through this railway or infrastructure corridor, either through channel or through bridge. So, first of all, distribution of human resources, of mineral and other resources. Second, first stage actions. I don't want to go into technical complications Also, there is a lot to say about permafrost, there is a lot to say about mountains on the way, but if we start with healthy thinking, we have a chance to accomplish it healthy. We hear a lot of voices shouting that the resources, mineral resources, are being exhausted. We have to go to the moon. We have to, I don't know, we will die as civilization because of lack of resources. And at the same time, we've explored just a thin film on the surface of the Earth. There is a lot we don't know about the Earth. There is a lot we don't know about the resources. First of all, if we talk about Siberia and about Russian forests, it is a kind of storage room for the whole world. Of course, there are huge resources already known, but at the same time, there are resources that we don't know about yet. And we have many examples when quite interesting mineral deposits or deposits are not being explored, because at the moment it doesn't bring immediate profit. Of course, if we mine something in Africa, the product will be cheaper than if we mine it behind the polar circle. When we talk about resources, it is not just about minerals, about ores. We have quite a complicated distribution of different kinds of resources on the Earth. If we look globally on Eurasia, we have high density population in the south. We have nearly zero population in the north. At the same time, we have some mineral resources, forestry in the north, which is needed by the south. But it is not that easy. We just build railway and we get these resources. The problem is some mineral deposits can be mined in such a way, gold deposits, because the product, enriched product takes not a lot of space and not a lot of weight, and it can be taken out by plane. But if we talk less expensive metals, they need deep processing, and they need to process these ores. We need really developed infrastructure.